Vampire crew tonight in just a moment. But first, there's a very special guest joining us on the pitcher's mound. Along with our promo crew and Sully the Gully, let's find out who is here for a very special night. And to do that, we introduce, as always, our game day host at Gulls Games. Here's Jared Waldo.
Thank you very much, Joe. Joining us down here on the field, our Sobey Slugger, say hello, representing Bentley Minor Baseball, 10-year-old Cohen Dunbar. Cohen Dunbar, tonight's Sobey Slugger.
Thanks very much, Jared. You can watch for Jared right next to you in the seats and on the berms tonight. Lots of great prizes from Morgan and Sully and the promo crew coming right up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're able, please rise now. Remove your hats and your caps. It's time for the Mobile One Lube Express anthems tonight, as sung live from the pitcher's mound. Welcome to Sylvan Lake, the Sylvan Lake Gulls!
Without further delay, Gulls baseball fan, let's welcome the first ever coach in our history, Jason Chatwood.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Sylvan Lake Gulls!
Baseball continues in the WCBL as we get you set for this rematch between the biggest rivalry arguably in the WCBL, and that is the Okotoks Dawgs and the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the pregame show brought to you by VisitSylvanLake.ca. Glad to have you watching all the WCBL action this year on FloCollege. I'm Cale Clark. This is my broadcast partner, Jim Claggett, as we get you set for this heavyweight tilt yet again. It was the Okotoks Dawgs last night that had the upper hand over the Sylvan Lake Gulls with a 8-5 win, and tonight the Sylvan Lake Gulls will look for a little bit of revenge, Jim.
You know what? It's in the back of their mind. But I think the key for the Gulls and the thing that should be at the front of their mind is what Rowan O'Connor said yesterday. He says, we got to stop playing from behind.
Yeah.
We got to play from ahead and see how that works out. Because they were down 3-0 right away in the second inning, and then they came back a little bit. But it's a hard road to hoe as you keep coming from behind. It's tough on everybody.
Absolutely. They played more behind than they have with the lead, and I don't want to say this too loud, but the last time that the Gulls did play with the lead was actually ended up being their first loss of the regular season to the Energy City Cactus Rats when they had a 4-0 lead. So not only is it so important to play with a lead, but I think it's important just to play tight defense and not have any blow-up innings get away from you and allow, the opposing team. I know that they're not allowing the opposing team to score in heavy amounts of runs, but at the end of the day, it's got to be something where they find that fine line of, okay, we got to have the offense, but we also have to have timely defense. And I just don't think we've seen a full game yet from the Sylvan Lake Gulls team.
No, I think we're going to.
Yeah.
I can't say that we will tonight. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't make predictions like that. But I think there was a meeting before the game tonight, and the door was closed. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So we'll see what kind of difference that might make to this Gulls lineup tonight. A new face on the mound tonight, Cam Diaz.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam Diaz, there he is there on your screen as we welcome him to Gulls Field, making his debut with an 180 ERA. He's had 5 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, and only has given up 5 hits. He's from La Mesa, Texas, and goes to Sam Houston University. So we'll see what kind of arm he has on the mound.
That's the first time I've seen the pitcher come up and shake the hand of the home plate umpire before the game.
That's he's got some class. But
here's what he's facing.
This is the lineup he's going to face, and as we know, this guy that leads things off has always been dangerous. He had another solid night defensively, especially at shortstop. Ricardo Sanchez, a player to watch out for, but also a player that's really good behind the plate. Jacob Rubleski, he has a cannon of an arm. You got to be careful when you're running the bases when he's behind the plate. A guy that's making his return into the lineup that we've yet to see at Gulls Field this season, but as a returnee is designated hitter Aiden Rose, and he can put a charge in the bat as well.
Yeah, those last 2 names, they didn't start last night. And Brandon Pays is the second baseman. He's new to the lineup as well.
Absolutely.
The rest were there last night, and they all can do some damage. We know that. So it'll be fun. Absolutely. It always is, right?
It's always a good time as we get you set for this one, the rematch between the Dawgs and the Gulls. Gulls looking to get back in the win column after dropping 2 straight this week. And, this is their last home game for a little while, as they will then head on to the road and take on Okotoks down in
Okotoks
Seaman Stadium.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were thinking where? In Okotoks?
Down in Okotoks.
I'm thinking Okotoks.
I'm thinking it's got to be Okotoks, right?
But, you never know.
This year, you just never know.
Guys bounce around. I mean, we've got Energy City with 2 home games here. Brooks coming up.
Yep.
They've got a home game
They'll
here.
They'll be playing here as well, one game.
So it's nice, to share facilities, I guess. I don't know. It's not my facility. I can't speak for the owners, but they seem to be okay with it. So
I think so.
If they are, we are.
Yep.
So leading things off, as always, for the Okotoks Dawgs is Ricardo Sanchez. And first pitch swinging, he sends this out into right field, into foul territory. Simon Baker trying to track it down, but it lands harmlessly in foul territory.
If Simon Baker found a way to get under that ball, wouldn't that have been a start?
Oh, well, yeah.
Just why not start with a highlight reel grab if you can, as, that was fading away from him, but he definitely tried to get there.
So Cam Diaz, as you said, La Mesa, Texas, Sam Houston University. You know the name Sam Houston?
Can't say I do.
Remember
Jim.
your history classes?
Nope, I never paid attention to those.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. 1-1 the count here for Ricardo Sanchez.
I was like you in math class, where I sat at the back and probably was half asleep every time history came up.
Sam Houston was a general in the Army of Texas, when Texas was an independent state. And he was the general that was supposed to show up in time to help the boys at the Alamo. Sam was a little late. And the guys at the Alamo probably never forgave him and say, wait a minute, remember the Alamo. Remember what time you're supposed to be here. And he didn't. So
sounds like my brother.
There you go. 2-2 the count on Ricardo Sanchez. And off-speed pitch there from Diaz. And the count now full. So there's your history lesson.
I appreciate the history
You're
lesson.
at the front of the class this time.
I think by the time I was in school, that might not have been in the curriculum anymore.
Well, I took American history as well as Canadian
well, that wasn't
history,
an option
so.
in the small town of Alex, Alberta, I'll tell
there
you
you
that.
go. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And a good battle to start things off with Cam Diaz and Ricardo Sanchez going head-to-head here. 6 pitches, a few foul balls. When I got to the park, Cam Diaz was on the table and Rob Manka was working on him. And he was moaning and groaning, but it was a good moan and groan, he said.
Okay, yeah, loosen him up. That's a base hit, first one of the night for Sanchez. As he drops that into shallow left field.
Yeah, welcome to the WCBL, Cam. That's what Ricardo Sanchez does to pretty much every pitcher.
Well, this is what we saw a lot of last night, right? I mean, the pitchers just couldn't get a break. They're running into some hot bats. And Okotoks Dawgs, they know how to bat really well.
They do.
You really got to earn your outs on them. And unfortunately for the Sylvan Lake Gulls, another night of giving up 8 runs on the scoreboard. We haven't really seen a game yet here at Gulls Field where it hasn't been a heavy amount of runs crossing the plate.
That's fouled off over the Gulls bullpen. And guys are warming up right now, so I'm not sure. Cam Diaz may have arrived in town yesterday or even today. So we got Hunter Jones warming up in the bullpen. And this could be a double play. And turn one and a second, and there's your double play, the pitcher's best friend, as Bryce Hampton and Rowan O'Connor and Matthew Brandt team up to erase the base runner and give a 2-out cushion there to Cam Diaz, who shook the hand of the crew chief Rob Allen at behind home plate before the game.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Gentleman's game.
Absolutely.
It's got class. You gotta love it. Classy Cam.
Oh, you're trying nicknames already?
It kind of sounded good, didn't it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, anytime you use alliteration, that's good. I'm proud of you.
I figured.
Alliteration is a good thing to do.
Gotta try it every now and
Puns and alliteration.
then. Well, yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. You do the puns. We're solid. We're
There
set.
we go. Zane Skansky is the batter for the Dawgs here. The left fielder.
Beautiful night again here at Gulls Field as well. Sylvan Lake, Alberta. We've had some cold nights, and I remember talking to Matt Brandt, and he was telling me that, yeah, I want a night where I don't have to wear sleeves, because that guy's from Texas. As this is lined out to deep right field, all the way to the wall, and it's gone.
Wow. That left in a hurry.
Didn't get up very much, but didn't need to. Kept it low, and it traveled the distance. 377 feet.
If not more.
If not more. Minimum 377 feet.
Yeah, that got out of there pretty quick, didn't it? And once again now, what Rowan O'Connor was referring to, not playing from behind, well, they got to come from behind again.
But
so I know it's only the first inning,
and
but
you
I'm
got
just
2
saying.
outs. It's now this is the time to shut her down.
It's the mental thing.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
You just, oh, come on. We're down again?
Yep.
You know, so we'll see. Resilience.
Yep.
We'll see. Barry Eisman, the right fielder, steps in. He hit a monster home run last night, too.
Yeah, he sure did. You know, there's a few homers in the last few nights here at Gulls Field.
Rowan O'Connor hit
Rowan O'Connor hit a bomb.
beast out there.
And then the night before that, there was some
2.
pretty big hits. Simon Baker
Matt Brandt.
and Matt Brandt.
And there's another one into the gap this time in right center. Oh, Simon Baker and Noah Cohens are going to get a workout here as they get the ball in, and a double for Barry Eisman. So with 2 out, the Dawgs are doing some damage already. And that'll bring up the catcher, Jacob Rubleski.
And this is kind of where the Gulls, problems have been so far to start the season is, once you give up a hit, they just can't seem to rally back and hold off anymore. It just kind of starts to open the floodgates a little bit with the momentum carries into the next batter, and the Sylvan Lake Gulls seem to have a tough time shutting things down once that begins. So this is where it's crucial. You went up two down quickly, and then now it's a matter of, okay, we got to shut the door and only give up that 1 run.
Umpiring crew tonight, the crew chief, Rob Allen behind home plate, Brad Johnston over at first, and Marcel Rosetto is the third base umpire. That's fouled back out of play. The count 1-1 on Jacob Rubleski.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Out in left field, making his return to the lineup, Matty Fung. At center, Noah Konings, and in right field, Simon Baker. And then infield, Jaden Flores getting his debut as a Sylvan Lake Gull over at third. Rowan O'Connor at short, Bryce Hampton at second, and Matthew Brandt over at first. And that just goes off the top of the mitt of Cam McLeod, who's catching for the Sylvan Lake Gulls tonight.
So we've got a pair of cams.
Yes, we do. Cam to Cam, the Cam connection.
The car reference would be the twin cams.
Yeah, there you go.
But they aren't exactly twins. So 1-2 the count on Wróblewski with 2 down here in the top half of the first, just underway basically here at Gulls Field. And that's grounded down to Flores. And we're going to test his arm. And
oh, wow.
Well, it's a strong arm, but he overshot the mark by a little bit there. As Matthew Brandt, who's a tall man, couldn't bring that one down.
Yeah, I mean, he can throw it, that's for sure. He put on quite the display of what his arm can do, but now we just got to dial in the accuracy.
Yeah. Good news and bad news, right?
Yeah, wow.
He knows.
Yeah.
He's already thinking, okay,
First
yeah,
game, shake it off.
Yeah, you want to make the nice play. It's a long throw. You want to get a little more into it, and yeah, and then it just leaves your arm and leaves your hand, I should say, and boom. So, base runner over at first, and Wróblewski's going to get another chance at it. This one is a strike right down the middle, so he makes up for the error, but the damage done once again as the Gulls are trailing 2-0, courtesy of a home run and a little bit of an error there. And welcome back. We are into the bottom half of the first inning here. Gulls trailing 2-0. On the mound, a very tall young man by the name of A.J. Rogers, your starting pitcher for the Okotoks Dawgs. One of the new faces in the Dawgs lineup.
Yep. Yeah, he comes from the Dawgs Academy, and he's from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So another East Coaster.
Uh-huh.
And here's what he's going to face here in the lineup, as we've still have Noah Konings leading things off. He seems to kind of have a good fit leading things off for the Gulls. Simon Baker following him up, and then some new additions, obviously. Jimmy Palaszczuk gets his nod into this game, and then, of course, Jaden Flores making his debut here tonight as a Gull. Matthew Brandt obviously replacing the injured Bryce Tanner from last night as well, as we saw a dangerous collision. But you were talking athletic therapist Rob Manka, and
Yep.
You got some good news for us.
He said he's coming along. Excuse me. I got a little something in my throat.
It's all good.
There we go. So I talked to Rob, and he said, yeah, he was impressed with how quickly Bryce was rebounding. He thought it would be a couple of weeks. He thinks possibly this weekend he could be ready to go. So that's good news.
That's very good news. Upper body injury as well, so you hope to see him back in the lineup ASAP. So that's good, and then of course Patty Fung making his return to the lineup as well is also something good to see that the Gulls, need, and it's going to be a full team effort tonight if they're going to want to walk away with a W here tonight.
There we go. Noah Konings will face A.J. Rogers. And a little chopper down to third. This is going to be a tough play.
Oh, wow.
As Konings can really run, which is why he's in that leadoff spot. So he beats out the throw, or the no throw, because third baseman Eric Matches had no chance on that one.
Maybe not exactly how Konings would have drew it up, but he'll take it. I mean, a base hit is a base hit. They don't ask you how it looked, that's for sure.
That's what they used to call that the Baltimore chop.
Yeah.
And it was because the Baltimore Orioles had their infield nice and hard, and because they didn't have a lot of home run hitters, but they had a lot of single hitters, and they would hit that bounce, that chop, and it would just bounce up in the air, and they could beat it out. There you go. You manufacture the diamond the way your team is sometimes, and that's what they did. Simon Baker steps in now with a runner on first. And he sends this over into foul territory around the third baseline, and Natchez makes the grab on that one to retire Simon Baker.
Yeah, so as soon as that ball gets up in the air, the wind is actually pushing from the east to the west, as we could see the mesh in play there. So that looked like it was going to go out of play, and then the wind just held it, brought it straight down, and that's favorable, obviously, for the third baseman, and Eric Matchey, who was able to settle under that ball. So easy out for the Okotoks Dawgs.
Let's bring up the DH, Jimmy Pelche, who I still haven't talked to yet about that little leg swing that he does. Let's see if he does it tonight. There it is.
That's a ball, so every time there's a ball, he swings that leg.
Yeah, not sure.
Don't believe he does it when it's a strike. I guess we'll have to watch for that, but
Yeah, we'll
it's
have to
definitely
ask
when
him.
there's a ball.
Yeah.
Just a thing a batter does, another thing that batters like to do, and that's right up high. So this young pitcher in A.J. Rogers is having a little bit of troubles early on for the Dawgs.
He sends Pelche down there, courtesy of a hit by pitch.
So that'll bring up Jaden Flores, who we know who he's got an arm. We saw it in the top half of this inning to start the game. Now we got to see what kind of bat this guy's got. He's from Dallas, Texas, and he goes to school at South Texas University.
So Dallas, it means he's got to be a Cowboys fan.
I think so.
I won't hold that against him. I think it's a law in Dallas that you actually have to cheer for the Cowboys.
Believe it, yeah. Beautiful facility they have.
They do. Kind of a annoying owner that they have, but I digress. Well, and there's Wróblewski doing that little framing business that he does so well. He just brings it from outside in, and I guess he does it smooth enough to get the call. 0-2 the count on Jaden Flores. And he fouls that off to stay alive.
A.J. Rogers can pitch 93 miles per hour. He throws some heaters down there.
He's got to be like 6'6", 6'7".
He looks very tall and all legs.
Legs and arms.
There's a lot of legs there.
Yeah. When he strides, 60 feet 6 inches. Well, I think he's about 50 feet 6 inches when he finally lets go of the ball. And a high 93-mile-an-hour fastball ties up Jaden Flores for the second out.
Let's take a look at this replay as that's up high, and it's a tough one. Could have been questionable if you let that one go. Good pitch by A.J. Rogers.
Matthew Brandt steps in now, the first baseman tonight.
Another Texas kid.
Mansfield, Texas. Oral Roberts University.
And we know he can hit.
Oral Roberts?
No.
Oh.
Matt Brandt.
Yes, we do know that. Sorry, I'm just being a little floater out to second base, and Brandon Pays easily makes the grab and brings out, ends the inning, I should say. No runs on one base hit, and we are headed to the second inning. Dawgs coming to bat. We are back here at Gulls Field at Pagattle Park. The Okotoks Dawgs with an early 2-0 lead over the Sylvan Lake Gulls as we are in the top of the third inning between these two. I'm not going to say bitter rivals, but I'm going to say bitter rivals. You can feel it when they walk into the park.
Yeah.
And you know, even if you're new to the team, to either team, you know the relationship that the Dawgs and the Gulls have. And you just feel it, and I think it's a healthy relationship, and I think it's good for the league and it's good for both teams.
You know, it brings out the best in both teams, right? I mean, it makes both these guys want to play their best game, and they do. They seem to always put on quite a clinic and a performance every single time these two teams meet. Well, I got to give you credit, Jim. You had the attendance pretty close, pretty accurate, actually. And that hit Sanchez, so he's going to take a base here.
That's unfortunate because it was an 0-2 pitch, and he just came in inside a little bit too much and got Sanchez. So, I mean, this guy's hard enough to get out. You don't need to give him a free pass.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'm sure that's not what Cam Diaz was doing, but that's unfortunate.
Total attendance last year, 367,582. That's up from what I believe our guy in the truck, Kelvin, said 305,000. So
that's right.
A big increase.
That's a nice increase.
From year to year.
Well, this will be Jake Skaggs who grounded out to shortstop. Well, he grounded into a double play is what he did. We'll see if he can do it again. Deja vu again. Nope, this time he sends it out to Matty Fung's territory. Matty this time hauls it in. And Sanchez retreats safely back to first after that fly out to left field.
Nice haul by Matty Fung, making it look easy from the veteran Gulls fielder. Yeah, no problem there as he tracks it all the way.
And he stayed on his feet.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. Why I said he made it look easy this time.
I wanted to ask him about that, but I didn't see him last night. He had already left the field when I got down there, so I'm sure he has the story behind it. Oh, I caught a cleat, or I stepped on a lace, or I was trying to avoid a ladybug or something. I don't know. Zane Scansey with his second hit of the night. This time he keeps it in the park with a single right up the middle to move Sanchez over to second. And runners on first and second for the right fielder, Barry Eisman.
Yeah, Scansey went 2 for 5 at the plate last night. And he's kind of picking up from where he left off here tonight. 2 for 2 now. And he's one of those dangerous hitters being known for the Okotoks Dog.
And that catches the outside corner. Strike one on Barry Eisman. Jacob Rubleski is the catcher. He is on deck.
Eisman hitting .450 coming into this game so far this year in the 20 at-bats he has faced.
Those are some good numbers. I mean, it's early.
It is early, but I mean, if you can start with numbers like that, that's pretty good.
It sounds really, really good, but when you given the number of at bats so far, it's kind of
the average is going to be
weighted there.
Weighted, yeah.
So 0-2 the count on Eisman. I'm not saying he's not a good hitter because he is. 4 hits on the night for the Dawgs. Eisman has one of them. He sends this out to left foul territory.
Well, just comparing offense to offense, you take a look at the batting averages for Okotoks. They have 8 players that are above 400. The Gulls have 1. And that's Rowan O'Connor. So,
well, that's interesting.
Early or not, that just shows that Okotoks is again another powerhouse team with the bats.
And Sanchez got a huge jump on that. As I think Cam Diaz maybe forgot that. It looked like he might have forgotten. But Cam Diaz, Ricardo Sanchez just got a massive jump on that one for a stolen base.
As soon as the pitcher looked away, he went for it, and yeah, no problem there. There's now runners on the corner for Okotoks.
One down, 1-2 count on the Dawgs right fielder, Eisman. Oh, and that gets away from Cam McLeod. And that'll bring a run in.
This one just off the tip of the glove of McLeod, and back to the screen it goes, and that's an easy. If it wasn't for that stolen base from Sanchez, that wouldn't be scored, and that's just timely base running for the Okotoks Dawgs.
Same old from the Dawgs. You make a mistake, they
make
cash
it pay.
in.
Yep.
It's fouled back. Eisman still at the plate working Cam Diaz, making him work harder than he probably wants to. 39 pitches on the night. We're not through 3 innings complete yet, so.
Gulls need a big play here. They need to stop the bleeding.
Another foul back against the mesh.
And again, luckily for the Gulls, they got a lot of games still left to be played in this one, but again, finding themselves down a little bit of a hole, 3-0.
The count 2-2 on Barry Eisman. Runner over at second, Zane Scansey. And Eisman, I think, was the one that called time on that. Had something in his eye, possibly.
Maybe some of that fuzz that's flying around right now.
Good old poplar trees. Big weeds. That's what they are. Nice tree, but boy, they eat up a lot of water. And that's grounded down to first, and Brandt flips it over to Cameron Diaz. And they get the second out. And Scansey moves over to third base on the play. And that'll bring up the catcher, Jacob Rubleski. As there's a good combination there. First baseman over to the pitcher.
The catcher.
Good replay brought to you by Hearthstone Property Management.
So 2 down, 1 run across right now, and the Dawgs in danger of adding to that lead with a runner over at third. An off-speed pitch there to start things off for Rubleski. That's fouled against the screen towards the Dawgs dugout. So Diaz ahead on the count, 0-2.
4 hits already for the Dawgs in 2.5 innings.
Yeah, they're machine-like in their approach to this game, aren't they? That's high and inside at 93. So even after hitting Ricardo Sanchez, Cam Diaz, I'm still going inside with that ball. And that's good.
Good
That's
confidence.
a good sign.
Yeah. Means that you're not overthinking it.
Not afraid either.
Yeah.
You can't take a pitch out of your arsenal.
No, exactly.
Count 2-2 now on Rubleski. 45 pitches on the night for Diaz in his Sylvan Lake Gulls debut. The 2-2 pitch on the way, and a swing and a miss. And the first strikeout of the night for Cam Diaz comes at a pretty good time as he closes out the inning, but the Dawgs do tack on one more run. They have a 3-0 lead headed to the bottom of the third. The Gulls coming to bat. Well, we are through 3.5 complete here. The Gulls coming to bat here. Jimmy Pelche, who is the designated hitter tonight for the Gulls, will lead things off against A.J. Rogers. And he starts him off with a 75-mile-an-hour curveball. And it's like, after seeing 92, 93, it's like, whoa, where did that come from? But that's what these young men can do. They've got all the skills. If you haven't been out to see a game live, I advise you to do so, because while we can bring you the broadcast and it's very good, but it's nothing like being at the park. You know that.
Yeah, you got to take in the atmosphere. You got to have some popcorn, have a cold beverage, maybe even a hot dog.
718 or 781. I can't remember. Those are the numbers that come to mind. 781 Toonie dogs sold last night.
Okay, I was one of them.
And you were one of them.
Yeah, that was on Tuesday night. Yeah, Tuesday night, Toonie Dog, when Energy City Cactus Rats hosted, and there's Pelche going out looking.
Yeah, he just froze him with that curveball.
He did the leg sweep after the strikeout, too.
Okay. Well, that's his thing, I guess. This will bring up Jaden Flores, who struck out in the first inning.
781 dogs.
I think 81 or 718 or
Well, that's still
781.
good.
The numbers, it's over 700.
That's still that's a good number.
That is.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the attendance was last night. Probably over 1,000.
Well, that was Tuesday night, Toonie Dog. That was 2 nights ago.
Oh, that was 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I can still smell the hot dog.
Oh, 1056 for the attendance.
There
so
we go.
that's
Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
Set over 70%.
Oh, you look at you doing math. Show off.
Well, it's easy. that I can make easy math.
I
But
got to take my shoes off to count to 20. 1-2 the count on Jaden Flores. Here we are in the bottom of the 4th inning. 3-0 Okotoks over the Sylvan Lake Gulls in Game 2 of their 3-game set. Game 3 goes tomorrow in Okotoks. I have never been down to their stadium, Siemens Stadium, but I think one of these days I'm going to make the drive down and see a game in that stadium.
yeah, I think I would like to do the same. It's heard nothing but great things. There's a reason why they host the WCBL All-Star Game and Day there every single year. It just has the capacity. It's built for it. It's, you know, it can hold over a couple thousand fans in Siemens Stadium. So, yeah, a good spot.
Yeah. I you know, again, numbers, my strong point, I think is over 3,000.
It could be that, yeah. I just know a minimum 2, I think, can fit in there. So, yeah, 3 would be. And they just added some, if I'm not mistaken, I think they just had some renos and added some new things into Siemens Stadium, so
Good.
to accommodate more seating.
I think it's make a road trip.
Yeah.
We'll see. There we go. I just got the word from Calvin Bellows. 2,500 seats, but they can hold over 5,000.
Wow.
There you go.
Double the
And
capacity. That's crazy.
Strikeout number 2 for Jaden Flores as in making his Gulls debut. Matthew Brandt will step in. He popped up to the or a little weak line drive over to the second baseman, Brandon Payas. And that off-speed pitch by A.J. Rogers. He seems to have settled in quite well right now.
Yeah, he's feeling it right now, and it goes to show the Dawgs have some really good depth yet again with their pitchers on the mound.
Well, and here is one of the reasons why you develop and the way you develop players. Years ago, it used to be there was Vauxhall had an academy, and then Okotoks had their academy, and there was academy up, I think, in Edmonton area, and then St. Joe's here in Red Deer decided, wait a minute, it's a talent drain. Guys are leaving here to go there, and then they stay there and play.
Right.
So let's keep them here. Well, yes, they have. And a lot of graduates from that academy right in the central Alberta area And another strikeout as A.J. Rogers just struck out the side to bring the fourth inning to a close. No runs, no hits, nobody left on base, and we are headed to the top of the fifth. Dawgs with a 3-0 lead. Well, it seems like Ricardo Sanchez leads off every inning, and he's leading off this one. This is the third time that he's come in to lead things off for the Okotoks Dawgs.
Yeah, and he's got on base both times. Base hit back in the first and then hit by a pitch in the third that would then score that third and last run that Okotoks has. So
that was an 0-2 pitch.
That was an 0-2 pitch, yeah.
Yeah, which just kind of puts salt in the wound and adds a little vinegar on top of that.
And then he was part of the double play that the Gulls had, and then after that, that's when the Dawgs seemed to find a way to change the momentum from that, and a solo shot from Zane Skainsey that got the scoring started for the Dawgs.
1-2 the count on the Dawgs leadoff batter, Ricardo Sanchez.
Are those kids hanging off the fence off the back left field wall there? I think there's kids hanging over the fence.
That does look like people, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think there's kids watching.
Yeah, there is. That's ripped hard over to second base, but Bryce Hampton with a good glove erases Ricardo Sanchez.
That was a big play there from Hampton as he fields it well and gets it over to Brent with lots of time.
What are they standing on? Are they standing on somebody's vehicle?
No, I don't think they're standing on anything. I think they're...
Well, they're pretty good at hanging on there. What are they, bats?
Or they might be standing on a middle bar there. As you can see, they're just small kids, so
yeah.
there's a middle bar that they might be able to stand on. And
that's great.
one kid can barely see
over.
Whoop.
Oh, I thought he disappeared.
Yeah, he almost did.
Like, whoa. We lost somebody there. So, good shot, guys. Way to go.
Hoping for a ball, maybe.
So, yeah, there's four of them. This is what do they call them? The knothole gang in the old stadiums where they have the boards and guys would hollow out. They'd make a little hole. They'd bring their drill and make a little hole and watch the game through the hole without having to pay their 20 cents to go in and see the ball game kind of thing. Maybe that's why Graham's not here. He's over there selling them a ticket.
Yeah, maybe.
Where's your parents?
Security. Well, they now made their way to the right side. I think they saw somebody coming. They ran for it.
They did. Yeah. Cheese it. The cops.
Yeah. Kids being kids.
That's it. Jake Skaggs, 3-1 count on the Dawgs center fielder, who showed some power. He showed his speed, tracking down a few balls in the outfield and stolen base, but he showed his power too. And there he rips this one into the gap in left field. Yeah, Matty Fung, strong arm, and not in time, but a pinpoint throw by Matty Fung. Almost got Jake Skaggs, but as I said, Skaggs has got some speed, so.
Yeah, it was a really good throw by Matty Fung to, heads up play to see Skaggs turn first and go for second. And, I think if it wasn't a bouncer and that Hampton had to fight off and scoop underneath of it, he might have a chance of tagging.
I think you're right. Well, Matt Hape is going to make a visit to the mound. Now, I don't know there is some action in the bullpen.
Yep. And it looks like it's 41. Tyler Hrim, who we've seen in there a few times now.
Yeah. So I don't know if some of these guys, like I say, they're on pitch counts. They can only do so many innings. Cam Diaz just arrived either late yesterday or early today. So, and it might just be a discussion on strategy too. I'm not saying that he's going to pull him out because he's settled down since that first inning. So.
And again, he gave the umpire a nice little tap on the shoulder there.
Yeah.
After the umpire comes out to the mound and Rob Allen. So
polite young man.
Yeah, very nice, polite young man. I mean, I guess if you're going to be friends with anybody, that's the one you want to suck up to.
Well,
the guy calling your balls and strikes.
I know when I ref hockey, goaltenders always used to come and be nice to me.
Yeah.
And I had a soft spot for goalies. I used to play goal, so I'm okay
that
with.
Explains a lot of things, Jim.
Oh, it doesn't explain anything. You tell me what that explains.
Oh no, it's all good.
No, I want to hear this. Don't shy away from it.
Goalies. Goalies are their own human being. They're their own personalities.
You got that right.
You got a good one. That's all I know. The puns, I think that might be one part of it. Goalies like those catchphrases.
They do.
They like using the interesting lingo.
1-1 the count here on Zane Scansey with the base runner over at second, Jake Skaggs. I found in all the years that I was interviewing people, the guys that usually had the best insight in baseball, it was catchers or first basemen. Goalies in hockey, for sure,
yeah.
And offensive linemen in football.
Okay, yeah.
Offensive linemen were some of the best trash talkers, and they just had some of the best. Like their sense of humor was really, really good. Love the Hoggies. Always loved the Hoggies. 2-1 the count on Zane Scansey. That misses outside 2-2. Or 3-1, I should say. See, math. It's messed me up right away. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. I'm okay with that. That's all I really needed. But sine, cosine, tangents, no.
Oh, throw to second, but
not only do I not understand them, I can hardly spell them. So
that's fair.
Tangents, angles.
Yeah, that's not my forte either, to be honest with you.
Why do I need that?
Yeah.
I can make change.
I can make change. I know what 90 degrees 180 is.
Yeah. And a walk given up by Cam Diaz to put runners on first and second. That's the third walk given up by Diaz. 2 by pitch count and 1 by hitting the batter. And this will bring up the right fielder, Barry Eisman. He's had a double back in the first inning and then grounded out back to the pitcher, to the first base, I should say.
Eisman, went 2 for 5 last night, had 3 RBIs, and he hits that right to the pitcher. Off the knees from Diaz, now over to first.
There's a double play.
Wow. How about that to end the inning? Cam Diaz not only settles the ball down, but drops to his knees and still makes an incredible play that the Sylvan Lake Gulls needed at a crucial time in this game. Gulls will come to bat at the bottom half of this inning.
Well, A.J. Rogers still in the game for the Okotoks Dawgs, and why not? No runs on 2 hits for the Gulls, and he struck out the side to end the 4th inning. So
yeah, I love seeing this pitcher. You know, I was just coming out of the break there. It had a really good shot of him, and he couldn't stop smiling. You can tell the kid's having fun. He's feeling it as a pitcher, but he's also really having a good time right now on the mound. So if you're the Gulls, that's not a good sign. if a pitcher's that relaxed and just really enjoying himself and feeling it, yeah, it's going to be a hard night on you.
he definitely is in a groove. Rowan O'Connor is the batter for the Gulls. He grounded out to 3rd back in the 2nd inning.
And as I mentioned earlier, went 1 for 3 at the plate. He had 3 RBIs, according to Point Streak. I thought he had 2 base hits yesterday.
I thought he did too.
And Point Streak's saying 1. I'm going to say he did have 2. So I think it was 2 base hits yesterday. Point Streak's trying to throw us off, as per usual.
Well, I can only speak for myself. But that's grounded down to 3rd. Matchy up with it and across the diamond. And makes the play for the first out here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. So 1 down. And that'll bring up the catcher, Cam McLeod.
Well, we got a special guest joining us in the broadcast booth, as we promised, and it's a pleasure to welcome in CEO, founder, owner of your Sylvan Lake Gulls. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Graham Schetzel to the broadcast booth. Graham, thanks for taking time out of your night. You're watching the baseball game, not watching the Oilers game now, and it's good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me up, guys. You guys do a good job, and it's nice to come in and into the mouth of the lion up here and have a look around. You guys got a lot going on in here.
Yeah, it always is, and it's always looking better every year too, with the walls that you guys do. You know, you guys have done a lot, obviously, with this facility. Just take us through. This is year 5 for you guys as a club, and this is grounded right to shortstop in Ricardo Sanchez, and he makes the throw look easy to retire the 2nd out of this inning. But just take us through the changes, and from day 1 to now, all that's happened and all that's went behind scenes into this.
Well, I think obviously there's been a lot of quick evolution here. It seems like we've been here a lifetime already, but really it only has been. This is only, I keep reminding myself and our staff, it's only our 4th full year. The first year obviously was a real piece together thing, as you guys very well remember.
Yep.
So this is only year 4 of a full venue and a full fan experience. So we're trying to make it, the goal is to make it a little improve every year. And I think we're doing that. There's been nothing major really the last couple of years, but just small little tweaks like the Alberta Springs 19th hole. We're serving pizza out of there now, and mini donuts, and what other kind of little changes have we got? The 50-50 shot. These are minor things as we kind of baby step our way towards hopefully a more major expansion in the next couple of years.
Well answered for being put on the spot.
Wait a minute. Mini donuts?
Mini donuts.
Nobody
Jim,
told
yes.
me about
I'm sorry, I could have brought you some.
I mean,
nobody told me about that.
Probably don't need it, but it would be good.
Okay, now that I know.
I am the food sampler, if you don't know that by now.
All right,
Graham.
good to know.
We've sampled a lot of food in this broadcast booth.
I'd probably get the invite up here more often if I bring food.
There you go.
Oh, the door's open for you anytime.
Oh, okay.
It's your door.
Okay,
yeah, I mean, technically, you have the keys. Yeah.
You can lock us out. 1 and 2, the cap at the strikeout there for A.J. Rogers, and I think on Bryce Hampton. And A.J. Rogers has settled into a groove, and after 5 complete, the Dawgs have a 3-0 lead over the Okotoks, or over the Sylvan Lake Gulls, with the Dawgs coming to bat. But we'll stick around here and talk to Graham Schetzel. And you had a question after I interrupted about the donuts.
No, it's okay. No, I just wanted to ask. There is something new that is this year, and it's where the baseball game's being played. We're just days away now from a big game against the Lethbridge Bulls on Sunday, a doubleheader, and it's going to be not at Gulls Stadium. It's not going to be down in Lethbridge. It's going to be down in your neck of the woods in Oyen, Alberta. Take us through the decision behind that and just the history you have with Oyen.
Well, it was an idea that kind of came about around the league boardroom, and we branded it. We finally settled on the rural roots. Everybody loved the idea. I think a lot of us underestimated the challenges of hosting a WCBL game in today's modern age in a remote town, which Oyen, I love Oyen. It's a great town, but it is in fact remote, and the things like that we have here, such as Wi-Fi and points of sales and all those kinds of things, you don't have at a rural remote location. So those are challenges we're facing. But I think there's people that are in charge. You know, the organization is happening, and it's going to go off without a hitch, I think.
And that's where you used to play, and you also, I believe, played with Akil Samuel.
I did, yeah.
At one point, there's some history there for you at that diamond.
Definitely, it's definitely going to be a sentimental weekend for me. I played 4 summers there, and of course the Pronghorns were in the Saskatchewan Major Baseball League at that time, which of course has now evolved into what we see today. Totally different product now versus then. It was more of a kind of a hybrid semi-pro / senior league at that time. Still very good baseball. But at that time, I believe we could only have, each team could only bring 4 or 5 American imports. Not today, as you know, we all know that we all have more than 4 or 5 American players. So the quality of baseball today is far superior in the league as to what it was then.
Now let's talk connection here. Before that, though, we got a new pitcher as Cam Diaz had a pretty decent debut for the Sylvan Lake Gulls tonight. Now Tyler Hrim is going to come in and take over the left-hander. This is the first time we've seen him tonight, so or this year. So we'll watch this one, but I want to see if how you're going to dance around this one. But there is a connection to you and Oyen and a race.
Yes, there is quite a connection. That's, you know, I had 4, I like to think, pretty really memorable summers there, and we won a championship in 1995, and it was a great experience. But of course, if I run into somebody that connected to Oyen, who may have been an Oyen or around Oyen in 1994 or 95, they want to talk about the Main Street race. So I'm glad I was able to leave that impression.
Well, I gotta know what this race
was. Well, it was a
was.
late night race. It was after a few 7-ups, after a Pronghorns win, and the somebody challenged me to a race. Somebody said I was the slowest man in Canada.
Okay.
And another person chimed in and said, no, Justin Duckweiler, who was a kid from Las Vegas, actually, he was our catcher. No, he's the slowest guy. So Justin and I, of course, we both had our opinions, and next thing you know, we were both out at the stop sign on Main Street, Oyen, and we raced that whole down block, which is a long ways, but at least the Canadian came out on top.
There you go. Are we going to reprise this?
No,
moment?
I don't think we're gonna.
No?
I don't think we're gonna bring that one back.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I love it. That's a good story.
1-2 the count here on Brandon Pays, as this is the first batter that Tyler Hrin is going to face, and this is grounded down to the other newcomer, Flores, and he fires that across the diamond. Strong arm by this young.
Yeah, I got to ask you, what do you think of this guy's arm right now?
He looks good so far.
Yeah.
I think he just rolled in today, probably. So far, first impressions looks good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So when you look around and you see all the developments, do you stand back and take a moment and go, you know what, this turned out pretty damn good?
Well, I do, but Jen and I talk about that, and Akil, we talk about all that. You know, we do reflect on how far we've come, but I think if I was going to break it up, I'd say only like 10% of it is how far we've come, and the other 90% is what's next. Like we gotta do this, we gotta do that. We got a lot of boxes to check here still, but it takes time. You can't do it all in the first year, the second year, or even in the 5th year.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we did talk about, Cale and I were talking earlier about how this league has grown, and you talked about when you played back in, like you say, it was kind of the senior league, but the growth of this league and the balance that we're starting to see now as teams are recruiting a lot stronger. Are you seeing that as well?
Well, it's early this year, of course. It's hard to say. It sure looks like it, like the first week or so, just looking at the scores around the league. It looks like there's some more parity, and of course the league wants that.
Yep.
But so many things have happened, stateside in baseball with the shrinking contraction of minor league teams and the expansion of college rosters. I think we have more of a pool of quality kids to recruit from. So I think our league would be ashamed of itself if the quality wasn't getting better. Like there's more players to pick from, I feel. I don't have any data to back that up, but that's my opinion.
I will believe you.
I know you're probably going to be humble and modest when I say this, but would you say that you guys were kind of the kickstart to this league really picking up a different level?
I would say we
Saskatoon
were
not far after you guys.
Yeah,
right?
I think I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I think probably Saskatoon looked at our success and thought, because there hadn't been a new really successful franchise, I don't think. I'm not trying not to offend anybody. It'd been a long time, of
course,
since a new expansion team had come into the WCBL and had instant success, which I feel we did. So Saskatoon, not to speak for them, they probably looked at that and thought, okay, this is possible. Same way as we looked at Okotoks and Lethbridge, and those storied franchises in our league. I mean, we used them as kind of the copycat. We were trying to copycat them. If they can do it, it can work in Sylvan Lake. Was our theory, and I'm sure Saskatoon probably felt the same.
Yeah, of course. And I got to take it back now. We had that hot stove before the season even began, and Keel Samuel. Oh, okay,
Okay, watch this play.
Called out here.
So this is Matthew Brandt showing a little bit of cerebral baseball here. Now watch this play. So there's a throw over. He jumps over the player, and the Dawgs player. Now he takes his foot.
Oh wow!
Yeah, off the bag, and
that's a good play.
gets called out.
Okay.
That kind of makes up for the one over at second base, but well, I'm not going to say anything. I guess I already did, didn't I? Oops. No, they don't make up calls, you guys. Come on, don't put words in my mouth, right, Jim? Okay, and this is well hit to right field, and well, that's Mr. Bonilla showing that he's got some power. He's got some power. He's lost. We talked about how much weight he may have lost. Yeah,
he didn't lose any power.
He didn't lose any power.
Absolutely
no.
not.
That's a solo shot right over the right field wall. Well, that play stands out a little bit bigger now, getting that out over first base. So it's one run. But when you're trying to assess, and this is kind of like the Western Hockey League in some respects, where you got guys coming through and then they graduate, and then you got a new crop coming through, and you're always seeing new faces coming through the door, kind of thing. At what point in time do you look and say, this is what we got, and we're going with this, and we can't make many more changes?
That's a better question for Coach Chatwood.
Okay.
I perceive that to be. I think the roster is going to probably keep evolving a little bit here for the month of June.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If there was a trade deadline in the WCBL, don't quote me, but I believe it's June. It's not the trade deadline, but the playoff
Cutoff.
roster cutoff
Yeah.
is around July 20th. But I think most of the roster movement, shuffling, and improving is kind of done before the end of June, typically.
Okay.
So I would say this is pretty close to what we're going to see for the 2025 product, but there might be an addition or a surprise or two, maybe even.
Okay, there we go. I like surprises.
And we know that too. There's a lot that goes in as Aiden Rose pops this out to left field. Is Manny Fung going to get there? No, he's not. That'll land fair. So Rose will get to second easily. And the Dawgs aren't going anywhere just yet. But yeah, we were talking about, last year to this year, and we know that there's only so much that you as an organization can do for bringing players back. Was there a little bit of disappointment of certain players that maybe aren't here this year that were here last year that could have maybe came back to Sylvan Lake?
I think we probably always have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I certainly don't want to take anything away from this group of guys that are here.
Of course.
We've got some really talented guys that are here.
Yeah.
Was there a kid or two who we thought, impact guys from last year we thought were going to come back? Yes, but not through our own fault, just circumstances.
Exactly.
It's just the way it goes in this summer college baseball. So disappointing. You want to bring everybody back that you can, and but we see some fresh new talent out here, and there's lots to be excited about here.
And I guess that could be the struggle, is that when you do have good guys like you did have last year, where they really make an impact, they really get some eyes on them. Coaches know their worth. It's hard for those coaches to let them come back.
That's right. And some of those guys, we had some very talented guys last year, and I guess it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You want them to really perform well for your franchise, but the nature of the beast is those guys are trying to move on to bigger and better things too.
Course,
so
yeah.
we are all about moving guys on. We want
That's
everybody to go to bigger, better leagues, get drafted, and so on and so forth. So that's part of the strategy too.
And you've had two guys drafted here, Nathan Fluellen and Owen Pote.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And Tyler Hampu.
And Tyler Hampu,
and
yeah,
Hampu,
that's
yeah.
right, yeah.
And Pote just signed with.
Pote just signed. You
With
guys
success.
tell me that. So
Cincinnati,
that's good for him.
So I have to ask you this, and then you can refuse to answer and say, on the grounds that it may incriminate me or whatever, but putting out that record last year, does that put a little extra pressure on this team this year to try and match what last year did?
That's a good question. Again, probably a better question for the coaches.
Okay.
Personally, I don't really think so. I think any team that wins 44 out of 56 games is like that's quite a high bar. So I don't think any team in the league would feel any pressure to get to that level. Like we won 38 the 2 years prior to that, and my words to Coach Chatwood after both years was, enjoy it, because we might not ever win 38 again. Like that's impressive. And then we come out and win 44. So I don't think these guys are worried about 44. I think they're just here to, first of all, they're just right now still learning the town of Sylvan Lake. They're figuring out how to get to the ballpark, and they're getting accustomed to a big crowd here in Sylvan Lake, and they'll settle in, and they're going to get their share of wins.
And once again, the billet system here in Sylvan Lake for the Gulls has stepped up and made these guys just feel right at home.
Huge. That was at the beginning of this venture. That was a real stressor. Like we wonder how are we going to find 30 people to, because billets, you hear, it can be a challenge in much larger centers. So we naturally assumed we were going to have trouble finding enough billets, but it's been a very pleasant surprise, the billet program thus far.
From an ownership standpoint, the fan attendance, what's that been like, over these past 5 years? Have you guys noticed that every year more and more of that fan base is growing? Well,
we kind of really exploded in year 2 and 3. We've tapered off a little bit since then, and part of that is because our park can only handle so many people. So I think we're kind of in a nice spot right now. We've got 13 and change here tonight. It's just a nice crowd. Would we like 300 more tonight? Sure, but we don't have the seats, and I also understand that not everybody wants to sit on a grass berm or stand. Yeah. So, that's part of the discussion about how do we keep growing this thing.
Well, and that's got to be the thing, is how do you keep that entertainment level, and the product so great to draw these people in, because it's going to be hot and it's going to be fresh, in those first couple of years, but year 5 you're starting to see, okay, this is the real test.
That's
and there's
right.
A strikeout there for
the novelty on anything does wear off. I mean, I imagine most people in Central Alberta have, they've had their one trip out of curiosity out here over the last 5 years, and some of those people, we hope they all come back, but some of them probably came once and thought, it's a good time, but I'm not really a baseball person, so I won't come back. But it's our challenge now is to get that, keep building the core fan base, the person or the family that wants to come to 8, 10, 20 games a year.
Well, Graham, we appreciate you stepping in, taking some time out of your day to come and chat with us and give us a little bit of an update about Oyen and all the good stuff that's going on around the league. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Cale and Jim. You guys do a great job up here. Really appreciate it. And apologies again that I was a half an inning late.
You're good.
Bring donuts. That'll make up for it.
I'll bring donuts.
Exactly. There you go. Graham Schetzel, the founder and owner of your Sylvan Lake Gulls. We'll be back with the rest of this bottom half of the 6th inning when we come back. Matty Fung will lead things off here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. It is a 4-0 Dawgs lead over the Sylvan Lake Gulls as they again find themselves down a little bit into a hole here. Matty Fung, as I mentioned back in the 3rd inning, still looking for his first base hit as a Sylvan Lake Gull this season. Had a little bit of an uncharacteristic start for him. And he pops this straight up as the frustration with the bat continues for number 4. And that's caught by number 23, Braden Paez.
Yeah, this is it's a tough start to the season for Matty Fung, but he's a battler.
He is,
and he'll figure it out.
Yep, he'll get her going.
He's too talented to not have a hit all season long, kind of thing. I don't see that happening. I would bet. Do I have any money on me? No, I don't have any. I never
don't
have
start
any
betting. That won't be
think
good.
I got
You're
a-
on a fixed income, Jim.
I am on a fixed income.
Remember that.
I am.
No.
I'm reminded every time I go to the bank.
If it's not the wife, it's the bank telling you.
Oh, no, she's on a fixed income too. So
There you go.
we both are. We're sharing the misery. 1-1 the count on Noah Konings, who's 2 for 2 on the night. This would be a good time to go 3 for 3. Get something started here for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. As A.J. Rogers just, again, the Dawgs showing their depth and showing how their academy develops players, and all of a sudden this kid just comes in and he's done quite well. No, Rubleski thought he went around, so he put the tag on him.
And Konings knew right away he didn't.
And they checked down the first baseline, and Brad Johnston said, nope, he did not go around. So Konings gets another pitch. And he makes do with it, and that could drop in. Nope, it's just a little jog in from center field for Jake Skaggs for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring up Simon Baker. So only 2 hits on the night for the Sylvan Lake Gulls, 8 for the Okotoks Dawgs, and 4 runs to go with those 8 hits. I don't know what to make of it, but like Graham said, these guys are still finding their way around.
It's early. Yeah, it's early.
They're still trying to, learn their teammates' names. You got, 2 or 3 guys that came in today. It's a process.
Not worth hitting the panic button just yet.
No.
And I think again, there might be just that eagerness. I know Graham didn't want to talk to it, but the eagerness of that just expectation from last year, and maybe that's why seeing the Gulls early on struggles, it's a little bit more daunting. That's
And
safe,
Simon
yeah.
Baker beats that one out. That was a close play over at first, but he shows his speed, and maybe that lights a fire under these guys. Jimmy Peltier, the designated hitter, will step in now, and a good play there by Pez. But
Oof, that was close. Yeah, I think, Pez, he thought he had him. He thought and you're gonna give Pez credit. What a scoop! I mean,
Oh, yeah.
What a scoop at, just in the infield there, deep in the hole at second. I mean, that was a great play by him.
Well, and it just shows you lose an all-star shortstop in Brendan Luther, and so you take your second baseman, Ricardo Sanchez, and move him over to short.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything, maybe a little bit of power, but that's about it. And then you bring in a young kid like the Brandon Payas, and he just makes a play like Ricardo Sanchez would have.
Well,
so,
Sanchez, yeah, he makes those plays at second all the time.
So they just seem to be finding they fill a gap, they fill a gap, they fill a gap, and it's just like, okay.
Well, and again, I think that that's probably what a lot of other teams were saying about the Sylvan Lake Gulls for the last couple seasons as well at shortstop. We had Gavin Roy and then Jonah Weisner, just guys that year after year have come in, new bodies, but filling in that hole just nicely.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, depth, and that's what Graham was alluding to, is that there's a lot of ball players to pick from now.
Oh yes.
And like I always say this, when I would drive out here from Red Deer, I would go past these 2 ball diamonds at minor baseball, and in the first couple of years, I never saw anybody on those diamonds as I drove out, on a Sunday morning, coming out here for a Sunday afternoon game, or even in the evening around 5:30. This is when the ball should be starting. Now, both those diamonds are packed.
Oh yeah.
Almost every night,
Yeah.
and I think that bodes well for the sport of baseball in Central Alberta.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better.
Thank you.
Same in Lacombe.
I can't believe I said it all.
Well, I've noticed that in Lacombe too.
Yeah.
Lacombe's got a really good baseball program out there as well, and I'll be on the golf course and you just hear the crowd and you hear the crack of the bat, and it's good to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Baseball's becoming a big sport in Central Alberta for sure. It's growing.
2-1 the count on Jimmy Peltier. I think this might be the last inning for A.J. Rogers. He's only at 72 throws, though.
Not a lot of warming up going on, really,
there's
though.
not. But the coach did come out to talk to him here earlier.
Yeah.
He's got somebody in mind to come in here pretty soon, though. He's walking over to the bullpen.
I say if this is a quick out, he might get one more inning in him.
But again, you're looking at the number of pitches, and that's 73 on the night here into the 6th inning. So we'll see what happens. Simon Baker, he beat that one out. I was thinking maybe he might try to steal a base here, but to get something going here.
You're getting to that point in the game where you're going to have to start taking chances, I think.
Yeah. And there's the move over, and A.J. Rogers thinking the same thing. Yeah, I think this guy might be thinking to steal a base here.
And it's all smiles. I mean, look at the expression on these kids' faces. I mean,
he's having fun.
AJ's having fun. So is Bonillo over at first. He's got a big smile on his face as well. Now Baker's going, and he might go to third here. Yeah, he can go. Oh, he stopped up. No, he thought he wanted to.
Wyatt McKnight, I think, put the stop sign up.
Yeah, he wanted to.
Said, do not make the third out at third base here when we need runs and we need runners. So stolen base there for Simon Baker. And we're going to have to ask him, okay,
what changed your mind?
Did you see the stop sign, or did you think for yourself, I can't make it there?
So you got about a quarter of the way there, and then he's like, yeah, I'm going to turn back.
Yeah. Probably a wise move.
Yep.
Jimmy Pelche, full count. And he gives this a ride out to left field, but it's going to stay in the park, and it's going to stay in the glove as well of the outfielder. So the end of the inning for the Gulls. They started a little something there, but could not cash it in. And they end with nobody crossing the plate. 6 complete, 4-0 Dawgs. They Well, another inning of work for number 41, Tyler Wren. And he'll face, oh gee, look who's leading off. Ricardo Sanchez for the 4th time tonight. How does that work? Are they cloning him or something?
They're just batting the right way, I guess, tonight, and that's ending up with him at the top of the order.
Well, they just
threw a good share of batters every inning.
They just tell Eric Matches, you're going to be the third out every inning that you come to bat. Okay, can you handle
every other inning, anyways?
Because we're gonna have Ricardo lead off 4 times tonight, maybe even 5 if they. Yeah, it could be 5. Could be the 9th inning he leads off too. Let's see. I don't think I've ever seen that. This guy leads off every time. 1-1 the count though on Sanchez, and a called strike there. 1-2 now. Ricardo with a single in the first and hit by a pitch in the 3rd, and then he grounded out to 2nd in the 5th. And I guess I got under his skin because he said, oh, well, I'll show you. I'm going to have a base hit right here.
Been on base now 3 times out of the 4 tonight. 2 for 3 on the plate. Wow, he's having himself another game where he's a difference maker against the Sylvan Lake Gulls.
He always is.
Yep.
You know, I'd like him to show up here one day and say, you know, I'm just not feeling good today. I'm not going to play.
Yeah. Good luck. He's probably going to have to be on a bed somewhere, not able to move, if that's the case.
I'll buy him some mini donuts.
Oh, there you go.
Say, hey, you sit there and eat your
You
donuts.
just eat these
okay? If you need
donuts.
another
I'll bribe
bag,
you with
I'll run
donuts.
down and get you more donuts. You just tell me how many bags you need, and I will supply you.
So
Don't
mini
worry.
donuts this year. Where I gotta find out where this stand is.
Well, I think that's isn't that in the 19th hole?
Oh,
then?
it might be. Yeah,
Yeah.
that might be it.
So, and another hit batsman. This time, Jake Skaggs gets hit by a pitch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the Gulls. I mean, you go from one pitcher to the next, and it's kind of a same story, isn't it?
Well, it seems to be happening far more this year. I mean,
Yeah.
this is only, game number 7. And the ones that we've seen, I got to think there's been at least 2 every game,
Yep. Oh yeah.
if not more. I mean, that game against the Cactus Rats, there was 26 walks, but only 2 hit batsmen, but 26 walks. I mean, they're not walking as many guys maybe, but they're hitting guys. That's just, but that's part of pitching.
That's pitching.
You can't take away the plate, so I get it. I understand.
I know I can't do better.
No, I
That's
can't.
for sure. That's why I'm up
no.
here.
I would have a lot of arc on mine.
Yeah.
Here, hit
You'd be
this.
doing the underhand throws.
Yeah, if it hits you, it'll hit you on the top of your helmet,
Softly.
very softly. You wouldn't have to wear a helmet. Good pitch there by Tyler Hryn from Memphis, Tennessee. And he misses inside on that pitch.
We're getting warm-ups in the Gulls bullpen. 31, Josh Jolich will be warming up.
Okay, yeah, we're seeing some of the new guys.
Yeah, so it's good to see. And that's a nice thing about this time of year. We haven't seen everybody yet, so you kind of get to, okay, there could be still some hidden weapons that we have yet to discover here
Yep.
in both rosters, in Gulls and Okotoks. So it's kind of fun when you don't know what's coming up.
And I guess, maybe it might take a little while, a short period of time, obviously, but to define who's a starter
Yeah.
and who's a reliever and who's maybe, I don't want to say a closer, but we had, that Freilich kid who could throw pretty hard, would come in every so often and close, but then
Ty Boudreau.
then he turned into a starter
Yeah.
after that. So,
And it was opposite for Ty Boudreau.
yeah,
He
that's right.
started as a starter, and then he ended his Gulls career with being a closer.
Yep.
So
Full count on Zane Scansey with runners on first and second, nobody out. Dawgs looking to add to their 4-0 lead here in the top half of the 7th inning. And they're going to do just that as that drops in shallow center field.
oh, you overran it. Yeah.
And that run was going to score anyway, but a base hit there. Second RBI for Zane Scansey.
And as you take a look at the replay, of course, yeah, no problem there for Ricardo Sanchez again to cross the plate for the second time tonight, but we just missed it on the replay. But at center field, Noah Konings just took his eye off the ball last second and overran it. Luckily, it didn't allude to anything more than that, but new pitcher coming in, and it will be number 31, Josh Dolich from Spring, Texas. They're going to university at Southwest Oklahoma. We'll take a quick break while he warms up. We'll be back with more.
Welcome back. Gulls trailing the Okotoks Dawgs 6-0 here. And the Dawgs coming to bat here in the top half of the 8th inning. It's been pretty much all Okotoks in this show tonight. The Gulls just can't seem to mount anything going, and when they try, they get shut down. Either they do it themselves with a mistake, or the Dawgs just make a good play, or the pitchers make a good pitch. It's just been one of those nights, and we'll see what happens. As Josh Dolich is still in for the Sylvan Lake Gulls on the mound, number 31. And off-speed pitch catches. Not Cam McLeod. That's the Gulls team. This is Benito Bonilla.
Well, I just ran into Josh Tucker as this is grounded right to third base, and the throw well over the head. And that's the second time tonight the newcomer in Jaden Flores has overthrown first base. Unfortunate there, as Benito Bonilla will gladly take second.
This is something we have not seen from this franchise. It's early again, and we keep saying that, but they're just mental errors and physical errors, and it just keeps piling up. And I don't know what else to say about it, so I'm not going to say any more about it. It is what it is. It's sport, and sometimes things go your way, and sometimes things don't go your way. Something you try a little too hard sometimes, and it just, the best way to get out of a hole is to stop digging.
Yeah. But as I was mentioning, Josh Tucker ran into him just outside of the broadcast booth here just moments ago, and he just grins at me. He said, "We need to start scoring." And I said, yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's a pretty good observation.
Good observation, Josh. Yeah.
2-0 the count here on Aiden Rose with Bonilla over at second base. Nobody out. 3 errors for the Gulls, 2 of them throwing errors. Well, actually, I guess 3 of them throwing errors, because one was on Josh Dolich as he threw that ball out into center field on the attempted kickoff at second base on his he hadn't even thrown a pitch to home plate yet. So 3-1 the count now on the designated hitter for the Dawgs, who is hit by a pitch and had a double the last time up. So he's 1 for 2. Fouls that off. Count now 3-2.
Well, we might see one of the vets come into this game. Warming up in the bullpen is number 37, Kai Rempel.
Okay.
Calgary kid.
Yeah, he wants to pitch.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you were mentioning it, I believe last night, his pitches are limited and innings are limited, but may as well get him in here. And I mean, if you're going to shut the door, you need to shut it now.
Yeah, that door is kind of a little rusty.
It's rusty. Handles are starting to fall off on it.
Well, might have to call a repairman. I don't know. Anyways, this is floated out into foul territory, and Matt Brandt just can't track it down. At least I think that was Matt Brandt.
Yep, that's what Matt Brandt. Yeah, number 18.
I thought I saw 38, but it is 18. I saw the 8.
That's all right.
I thought maybe they brought in Simon Baker over to play first. I should just stop thinking.
We're seeing things now, Jim. We're seeing things.
Now?
Yeah.
I've been seeing things for many, many years, my friend. And a walk given up by Dolich. That puts runners on first and second with nobody out.
Well, there's been not a whole lot of walks necessarily, but man, that hit total is high. 11 hits for the Dawgs.
Well, let's see.
And I mean, there's been some hit by pitches as well, and he had one walk. Yeah, a few hit by pitches for sure. Hit batsmen. You know, I think there's 4. I count 4 at least on my score sheet.
Yeah,
tonight.
that's again. You just. It's very frustrating for these players, I'm sure. They probably come from programs where they're used to winning. They come to a program that is used to winning, and things fall into place. And right now, they're not. So you either keep on doing what you're doing, or you make some changes as individuals and as a unit.
Yep.
Kind of thing. So 2-1 the count on Eric Matchey. There, see, I got it right this time.
Nailed it.
Nailed it, yeah. Not even using a hammer. Top of the 8th inning, 6-0 Okotoks over the Sylvan Lake Gulls. You know, when I remember when we our first broadcast, we were thinking, oh, look at Okotoks. They got beat by Medicine Hat, and they got beat by Energy City. And oh my goodness, things are no, things are not falling apart in Okotoks.
And then they got shut out by the Lethbridge Bulls, 6-0 as well.
And then they've since rattled off. And Cam McLeod tracks that one down and makes the play.
That ball went to the moon and back.
Oh yeah,
that went way up.
That was up the elevator shaft, that one.
He had to really wait a while for that one to come down, and a good track there by the catcher and McLeod. It's what they needed.
Top of the order, Ricardo Sanchez. 5 times at bat tonight. At least this time he's not leading off. But what that tells you is they've hit through the order, or at least put a lot of batters up to the plate before him. So.
They've almost averaged hitting a halfway around the order every single inning.
Yeah, that's not good by any measure. And
nice
Rowan
catch.
O'Connor makes an absolutely outstanding play at shortstop on a hard hit ball to his right. And yeah, Ronan, you watch that replay.
Wow.
You betcha.
That looked good.
You deserve to watch that one.
And I love his reaction afterwards. He kind of tilted his head a little bit to the side. He's like, yeah, not bad.
Okay, I'm
probably
good.
not as. He's probably thinking to himself, that's not my nicest catch I've had, but this is a little bit of a.
That helps.
Help, yeah, it's a helper for sure.
Well, you know, and it's little things like that when they do them, it's like, okay, the crowd reacts and they say, yeah, we're behind you.
Yeah.
But it's the other little things. So there's always a but, and I apologize for that. I'm a Debbie Downer over here. It's like, yeah, well. 2-0 the count on Jake Skaggs, who is scored a run last night. He got hit by a pitch and then came around and scored. So Josh Dolich probably will be done by the end of this inning. And I think Kai Rempel will come in and take over in the 9th. He is warming up, so I'm anxious to see him pitch again, because he talked about increasing his velocity and working on his off speed at the same time, kind of thing. And the other night he did. He showed all those pitches and showed them well. That misses high and inside. 3-1 the count on the Dawgs center fielder, Jake Skaggs. Zane Scansey is on deck. And a walk given up by Dolich. That's his second of this inning. And that'll load the bases for the Okotoks Dawgs. With 2 down, again, anything can happen in the WCBL. We've seen innings where they've had 6, 7, 8 runs.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so anything can happen, but you can't let this get to 7 or 8 runs and have to try and come back.
Yeah,
But
you
you
shut the
only
door.
have 6 batters, to try and do it within. So good pitch there by Josh Golich. Springs, Texas. Sounds nice.
Texas is a lot warmer than here right now. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Wow. Matt Brandt is still wearing the long sleeves. And he's just waiting for the moment he does not have to wear those anymore.
Well, you can see the guys from further south, they're all wearing long sleeves.
Yeah.
This is grounded over to O'Connor. He flyers it over to Bryce Hampton to bring the inning to a close. But a good ending to that inning for the Gulls. A couple of nice plays there by Rowan O'Connor. And 6-0 Dawgs lead it. They didn't score on that inning, but the Gulls are coming to bat in the
6-0 Dawgs lead it here heading into the top of the 9th inning. It looks like the Gulls are going to rest their faith in Josh Dolich on the mound to finish this one out for the Gulls. But 4 other games on tap around the WCBL tonight. Moose Jaw Miller Express hosting a close one with Medicine Hat in a pretty high-scoring affair. 10-9 Moose Jaw leads the Mavericks. The Regina Red Sox up 9-1 over the Swift Current 57s. That is in the top of the 9th inning. Then you got Energy City in Lethbridge, and the Bulls up to a 6-0 lead over the Cactus Rats. And then Fort McMurray and Weyburn are at a tie game. Close affair, bottom of the 7th, 5-5 between the Giants and the Beavers.
There you go. Thank you so much for that update.
Your WCBL out of town scoreboard, no problem.
There you go.
How about the Blue Jays lately?
How about them?
They've been winning games and series lately as well, so they're having themselves a decent little start to the year.
They got to move out of that division, though.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough division.
That is just. You can have a great season and you finish 4th.
Yeah, they're 3rd right now in the American League East, so 33-29, which
4 games over 500.
8-2 in their last 10. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they're coming along. They're coming along. 1-2 the count here on who is this, by the way? Barry Eisman.
Barry Eisman, yeah.
Well,
Where are we?
I had stepped out of the booth.
So well, you got back in time. You're quick. I'll give you that.
Well, I won't share the story why I'm quick. Nobody needs to know that. Anyway.
Jeez.
1-2. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know either, but I don't know if you're gonna get out of it.
Give me a donut.
Oh, how about that catch?
Good catch in the bullpen
Not
there.
bad.
I'm not sure who that was. That could have been Junior Garcia, maybe?
Could be, yeah. Tough to say from this far away.
Yeah. That was a good catch.
Right out of the tip of the glove there. Just hung on.
So 1-2 the count on Barry Eisman. Josh Dolich still in the game for the Gulls. So maybe Kai Rempel was just giving his arm loose and
just in case.
Just in case, yeah.
Maybe they want to start him tomorrow. I don't know if he's a starter though. He won't be. No, not with. I guess not when he's under a heavy eye with how many innings he can pitch. So yeah, you're right. He'll just be more of a closer this year. There's a good strikeout though from Dolich. That's what they needed.
Yeah. You just gotta embrace the little things right now. You do something right, you go, okay, yeah, that's a good pitch, and I'm happy with that. So it'll come together. I'm going to go out on a limb here and I say it'll come together. Are these guys going to win 44 games like last year's team? No. I don't know that anybody's going to break that record.
I don't think anybody can do that again.
Not now with the parity that we've got in the league now. That's over the head of Jacob Wróblewski.
And again, we want to thank Graham Schetzel for coming in earlier this evening. But like he was saying, that's just so uncommon. Like that's once in a franchise maybe.
Blue moon?
Yeah, I was gonna say blue moon, but for them, that could be a one and only. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. I would say
it's not very common though.
I would say they will register over 30 wins.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I think in the last, I don't think they've been below that in franchise history.
No, they haven't. Well, so I think Graham said they were 37, 38 in the 2 years previous to that.
Yeah. Well, they had the same record 2 years in a row before the record-breaking year. They had the same record. So.
Yeah. So I mean, the bar has been set really high, not only on the field but around everything else with the field by what the Gulls do, and so when you set the bar high, as Bob Uecker always used to say, I try not to set the bar high so I can get underneath it. And get underneath it without being noticed. He was good at that. And that's popped up into right center field, and Noah Connings slides over and makes the grab for the second out.
Really like Connings' game tonight. He's been showing some flashes of brilliance, and we've seen a good arm on him, a couple good catches, and pretty decent bat tonight too. I mean, for only having 4 hits as a total for the team He's got 2 of them.
Okay, there you go.
So. Oh, and 1 here to Brandon Paez.
He has been hitless on the night. I think he's the only dog without a hit. No, Eric Matchey has not registered a base hit. And I think that's about it. Everybody else has at least 1, I think.
I don't have Benito Bonilla. I got him as a hit by a pitch.
Oh, yeah,
Or no,
6th inning.
that was the home run, sorry. I can't read my own writing.
Yeah, 6th inning, he got a single.
Or is it single?
Yep.
Okay. Well, see, I still can't read my own writing, apparently. Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you have it.
No matter where you are or where you go, there you are. Somebody said that once. I don't know who.
I just put chicken scratch on my
Could
paper,
have
so
been,
that
could have been Sam
anything.
Houston.
Yeah, there you go.
2-2 the count with 2 down. As Vin Scully used to say, deuces are wild, when he saw all the 2s up on the board. One of my favorite announcers. The guy could read the phone book and I would be paying attention.
Even count at 2-2. 2-away for the Gulls. They really need this one. That one just outside. 3-2 now. Full count to Brandon Paez.
So a 3-up, 3-down inning would go a long way for the sanity of this. Oh my goodness. As Rowan O'Connor, well, I'm going to think they're going to mark that as an error. We'll see. But right underneath the glove. And Rowan, he knows it. He's, oh man, he says, I make that diving play and then the ground ball and it just scoots right underneath my, yeah, he's thinking it over, going, okay. It's just a bad run right now.
Nice block there by Cam McLeod. Get in front of that one.
And I think that's where it has to start, in my opinion. Is little things.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
clean up the little things.
Well, it's happened a lot when it's 2-away. You know.
Yeah.
You only need that one more out, and then that's when things just can't be closed down for the Gulls.
Swing and a miss there by Benito Bonilla. One and one the count on the big first baseman for the Dawgs. I think he's going to be one of the better players in the WCBL in the next year or two that he plays here. If he stays, he might. Well, he's a big man and can hit the ball. We haven't seen him defensively though. And he sends this to the opposite field into foul territory, and
nice
Simon
catch.
Baker tracks it down with a great effort there to bring the inning to a close. Good job by Simon Baker. No runs on one base hit. They leave one man on base. And we are headed to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Gulls
Well, the Okotoks Dawgs are looking to steer this one home and with a new pitcher on the mound, and that is Frank Flores, as they look to make it 2 straight wins in a row over this Gulls team, and in a row. So Frank Flores steps on the mound, and he will face the top of the batting order, Noah Connings, who's 2 for 3 on the night tonight. Only his 4th at-bat appearance. Flores 1-1 on Connings. Going to be a huge inning here for the Sylvan Lake Gulls if they want to have any chance. The bats are going to have to explode. It's going to have a fireworks show to see anything come out of this one. That one catches underneath.
This young man does not waste any time getting the ball and throwing.
He's ready to go home, I think.
92 miles per hour as well.
I think he wants to just get out here.
That's a hopper back to Flores, and he underhands it over to first base and retires Noah Connings.
So I'll bring up Simon Baker, who made that incredible catch to end the top half of this inning with the catch in right field. Simon Baker 1 for 3 on the night.
Baker slams that into the net over top of the Gulls dugout.
Well, still a pretty decent crowd considering.
Yeah. No, I mean, these fans are supportive. They understand. And the struggles that this team is going through, and I say struggles, you just can't think. The unfortunate circumstances, let's put it that way. They're going through it themselves.
Yeah.
The fans are right there with them. So you turn it around, they'll turn it around.
It's definitely no Toronto Maple Leafs fans. That's that's for sure.
I don't think anybody's like that. Well, maybe the Dallas Cowboy fans.
Yeah.
Oh, a called third strike there by home plate umpire Rob Allen. And Simon Baker has a word of advice or encouragement or congratulations.
First Stone Property Management replay, that's, pretty low, but call goes the way.
Yeah. If there's anything that Jacob Wróblewski does really well is he's quick with that glove to bring it into the strike zone.
Oh, as soon as it touches that mitt, he just makes no mistake.
Well, look at the racing going on down the highway too there.
Race in the background.
A couple of
same cars too. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like the same cars. Yeah, Mustangs look like.
They look either like a Mustang or a Dodge Charger of sorts. Yeah.
Excuse me.
They were really ripping on the gas pedal.
They were.
Yeah.
I don't think I could get my Ford Ranger to go quite that fast.
Yeah. You're a friggin' Ford Ranger. Frankie the Ford.
Frankie Ford.
That's what it is. That's the name.
Yep.
Okay. I pass Frankie the Ford sometimes on going home.
Oh yeah, you pass me all the time. I do the speed limit. See, that's why.
Oh. I do the safe speed.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
The Alberta speed limit.
Yeah, the Alberta speed limit. If you're gonna speed, you do it in a safe, smart range, so that if you have to hit the brakes, the cops might give you a break.
not the California speed limit.
No, exactly. It's completely different. It's a lot. We look like wusses compared to the California speed limit.
I was doing 75 miles per hour in a 70, and guys were passing me like I was standing still.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Their Porsches and their Lambos and their BMWs.
My wife kept looking over. Are you doing the speed limit? I said, I'm 5 miles per hour over the speed limit. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy driving down there.
And signal lights are apparently optional. So 1-2 the count on Jimmy Peltier.
Gulls down to their last out. Dawgs looking to secure their 2nd straight win.
And boy, I'll tell you, that sounds awful when it hits the guy. It's only 81 miles per hour.
Get
only.
the ice. Just get the ice ready is all I can say. Wow, that hit him right on the elbow. Luckily, he's got that elbow protector on, and
that's
that's what made that loud noise. But my goodness, you think it still has to. You got to feel some effects from that, right? I mean, think about it. Any sport, you got protection there. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when it hits you.
Well, like I say, I played goalie.
Yeah.
And I played back in the day where we didn't have the cage.
Oh.
We just had a mask that was kind of tight to your face, and a puck hit you in the face, you got cut.
Oh my.
Every time. And Jaden Flores, with a rips a base hit out into left field, so that's his first hit as a Sylvan Lake Gull. So congratulations on that. Little victories.
Yep, absolutely.
Little
huge.
victories.
I mean, that's huge. This is where they need to start. I mean, they have no other option but to start hitting some balls. So if you're going to do it, do it. And I mean, and too, it's about going out too. I think knowing that you did it, right? I think that's going to be the small win for Jaden Flores. Is, I at least got a base hit in my debut as a Gull. I didn't get snuffed out, right? So
93 miles an hour outside, and Matthew Brandt had an idea of, I'm just swinging at this pitch. I see fastball, I'm swinging.
Man, one over the fence would be pretty neat.
And then he comes back with the off speed at 79 and has him well out in front. So 0-2 the count on Matthew Brandt, who's over 3 tonight. 5 base hits on the night for the Gulls. And a strikeout for Flores to bring the game to a close as the Sylvan Lake Gulls go down to defeat, running their record to 4-3 now on the season. And the Gulls and the Dawgs now are 4-3 as well.
Yeah, just like that. I mean, we were talking about how the Okotoks Dawgs had a slow start to the season, but they've now brought themselves back to above 500, and now the Gulls have been slipping a little bit lately after a 3-0 start, 4-1 start, now are 4-3. Have dropped a couple here at Gulls Field. In fact, that has now made it 3 straight losses in a row for the Gulls after being 4-0 to start the season, and another tough one here at the ballpark for the Gulls. But they go on the road down to Okotoks tomorrow, and I'm sure they'll be looking for a little bit of an answer back as we hand things down to field level with our in-game host, Jared Waldo, standing by with our player of the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our post-game interview and player of the game announcement. For that announcement, let's go behind home plate. Here's Jared Waldo.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Yes, it's time for our EG Auctions player of the game. Tonight's player of the game, number 12, Noah Connings. There's your cheering section right there, Noah. Tough one tonight. Your thoughts on the game?
Just didn't get the bats going at any point. Got to come out firing tomorrow. Try and get another one.
As a player, is that something when you're coming off a loss, you're just looking forward to the next game just to kind of put this one behind you and just reset for one more game?
Yeah, that's all you can do. You just got to flush it, move on to the next, come out ready to compete tomorrow.
Well, best of luck on the road in Okotoks tomorrow night. Your EG Auctions player of the game, Noah Connings, ladies and gentlemen.
Noah Connings said it best. Got to get the bats going, and that was a quiet night at the plate for the Sylvan Lake Gulls as they only got 5 hits to the Okotoks Dawgs' 12, and Connings with 2 of those 5 himself. So he led by example, but now the rest of the team has to buy in. And I think it's, sometimes it takes a little road trips like when they did in Fort Mac to gel and to start, getting a little bit of momentum and find their game, and maybe that'll happen for them in Okotoks tomorrow.
Well, it's a long season, and you've got opportunities, and I think they have the right attitude. Rowan O'Connor has said it, and Noah has said it tonight. It's just, just keep it, flush it, and move ahead.
Absolutely.
That's all you can do.
Well, the Okotoks Dawgs led by example yet again tonight. They got their bats going, and it was off to an early start. 2 runs in the first inning, 1 in the third. Connings got a base hit, thought maybe things were happening. Then the newcomer, and Jaden Flores, makes a couple big plays at third. And, kids were having fun. They were behind the fence. And then how about this play? Off the knees from Cam Diaz to just make a double play. Absolutely incredible. We want to thank Graham Schetzel again for joining us in the broadcast booth, talking about his days in Oyen. And, at the end of the day, there's lots to be had. It's the small wins that the Sylvan Lake Gulls have to take into tomorrow night when they fly into Okotoks. For Jim Claggett, myself, Kel Clark, and the whole broadcast crew at FloCollege, we want to thank you for watching this one with another bird's eye view. We hope you have a good night.